What's happening, Bimmerites? Beats here with Jeff the BMW Master, and today we're going to be installing 2 oil catch cans and a PCV valve externalization into my 135i. So let's get down to it. It's Bimmer time. Yeah.
So, as always, with BMW, if you're ever going to touch anything on it, you got to take the cowl off.
Yay, my favorite part of working on my car.
Basically, as always, cabin air filter. I know it's repetitive, but to work on these things, that's what you got to do.
It's also why I don't have the camera mounted right over there where Jeff's working, and I have it suction cup mounted, that one, not the one we're talking on, obviously. But that's why it's not just sitting there, because I couldn't, because I knew all that would be coming off, as always. So we'll just skip through this part for you guys real quick, and fast forward to where we're actually getting into the work.
So Jeff just disconnected my battery so that we can remove that whole wiring harness that runs across the top of the valve cover and the intake cover and all of that.
Right over here, you guys know what I'm talking about here.
So wiring harness, just going to get that right out of the way. So we disconnected the battery for that purpose.
So, I'm going to be taking both the bars off.
Both the strap bars?
Yeah, because from what I was reading up with the catch cans, it just makes my life easier when I first take them off to kind of route everything. So I'm going to take both bars off, taking the other one off, obviously, because I'm pulling the valve cover to do the external PCV plugs. Basically, from what I've, seen, I've never done one of these because this isn't something we do at a dealership. You don't really plug your crankcase pressure system. So this is something new for me, but from what it looks like, it seems like it's I don't want to say it. Relatively easy.
Yeah, so he said should be relatively easy. So what we're doing today, we're going to be installing the Burger Tuning, Burger Motorsports. I think they go by Burger Tuning. I'm terrible with names. Anyway, the Burger Tuning oil catch can, which is the high load oil catch can. We're also going to be installing the Mishimoto oil catch can, which is for low load. And we're also installing the RB Turbo PCV valve externalization kit. So 3 things really, all in one go. All about getting that oil out of my intake and out of my valves and all of that. Right, Jeff?
Heck yeah. Basically, these have a nasty problem with, basically, you'll start to get a carbon buildup. The PCV system, positive crankcase ventilation, will vent right into your intake system. So, essentially, you're just venting hot, gross oil. Basically, hot oil vapors into your intake, which 1 increases intake temperatures, and 2 essentially will clog your intake ports. So,
yep, sure does.
Thus making more restriction, thus making less power.
Less power.
And that's not the name of the game.
So after we get these installed, we will be doing another episode to show you guys how to do walnut blasting. So if you are curious about that, we have an episode of that coming up very soon in the future.
Sorry, don't worry about it.
Yeah, BMWs are very take everything apart to get to anything.
Well, it's also a really big engine in a really little car.
It's true.
So, I mean, you look at the 3 Series with the same engine, it's not as bad.
Yeah. It's not quite to the same level. But yeah, they do put that's why these are cool. They put a pretty good sized motor
Into a little car.
And
I like little cars.
there's something wonderful about horsepower to weight.
I've always liked pocket rockets and things like that, and this is kind of in that range. If you guys want to do any of this yourself, the Burger oil catch can, the Mishimoto oil catch can, and or the RB Turbo PCV valve externalization, the links will be down below. So if you need those parts, just look down below. We'll get you to them.
So I'm gonna make sure I can get these off first.
Get what off first?
Those middle valve cover bolts.
Why?
Those are the really shitty ones. I have my special tool. See if I can get to those. So I'm gonna see if I can get to those. If I can get them off, no problem. Cool. If I need to run out, we gotta run back out, and I gotta find something for that.
Okay.
Okay, so we did have to pick up a couple of specialty tools for this job as well. We had to grab this self-aligning tap and drill set 1032. And Jeff, what did you grab there?
I grabbed basically the N54s. Have there's one really terrible bolt to get to on the valve covers. Basically, they're a little ground for the ignition coils, but they, as you can kind of see, it's one really long bolt. And the bolt's all the way down there. So it's kind of shit to get to. So I got basically a straight through socket set. My hope is that one of the extensions will go on no problem with the socket, and then I can take it off no issues. You can also get just a regular, really long 10mm socket, but we have a specialty tool at work for them, and I can't take specialty tools from work because I'm good and not going to do that and get yelled at by my boss. So I went out and bought something, and let's see if it works.
Okay, so the set that Jeff bought didn't have what we needed. It didn't work quite right for the application. But lo and behold, I had a nice deep socket in my stuff in my trunk that would fit. So that's awesome because now we can continue to move forward.
It's not 100% perfect, but I can make it work. Cool. So I just wanted to do that real quick before, because I didn't want to take apart everything and then all of a sudden find out that I had to tell Beats we had to put it all back together. So. So as before, I don't know if you've watched the other videos, removing the valve cover, you're going to basically want to do two things first. Remove the ignition coils and remove all the fuel lines. You don't need to remove the injectors because the direct injection is basically straight in there, and it's actually around the valve cover. So you're just going to basically remove the lines. So I'm going to get the coils out first. So, as before, just kind of take a screwdriver, pop it up. These should slide out, but of course, it's BMW, and they're going to fight you tooth and nail every step of the way. As long as you have good coils and new coils, we replaced these, I don't know, probably... What'd you say, Beats? 3,000 miles ago?
Yeah.
5,000
Did we
miles
do
ago?
it with the oil change?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not up to 5,000 yet, so.
So,
yeah.
You know, these are all new good coils. So.
And we'll be able to look today and make sure we don't have oil where we did after we did the valve cover gasket, right?
We got all
Which
dry.
is basically where you're looking right now. It looks like it's all dry in there, right?
The only things that had oil were, this is all just kind of residual oil that leaks down from, you know, oil spillage or, you know, over the years. There was a little oil on top of the ignition coils. That was from the valve cover, the little engine cover having oil on it. But everything else looks pretty much
Pretty good.
pretty clean.
Sweet.
We'll know with the actual ignition coils when we pull them off. First, remove the O2 connectors.
Dirty O2 connectors.
Remove those. And as before, pop one of the lines just ever so slightly.
Release all that back pressure. And here it comes.
Smells like gas.
It smells like that and things it shouldn't smell like.
True. And you're still gonna have gas in this whole system. It's just, you know, you won't have any pressure essentially spraying at you.
Yep.
Also, with the battery disconnected, when you're doing a valve cover and you actually take off all the lines, they don't warn you this. They don't tell you about this, and it might not happen to a lot of you, but it does happen. Occasionally, the rail will prime itself, and if all these lines are off, you're standing right here to do a valve cover, these will squirt a bunch of gas on you. So if you have the battery disconnected as well, it's not gonna,
That won't happen.
that won't prime the injectors essentially.
Good tip.
So, and if you want to really with someone, if you have your buddy and he doesn't have it disconnected, this is if you really want to with him. Walk over to the car with all the injectors unplugged or all the rails unplugged and open the door. It'll prime it and spray them with fuel. Little tip.
Ew.
That's never happened at work or anything
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
No,
exactly.
that's never happened. So just with the rails, you're gonna want to make sure you kind of know which one, which. So just kind of lay them out at least, just so you have some idea. You can kind of put them back and figure out where they go, but it just makes your life easier.
Yeah, it's nice to just remember the order you...
I hope you got that on camera.
I did, I believe so. There should be at least this one. The light had it lit up pretty well, too.
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
That was fucking awesome.
Why did it spray so much that time?
I don't know. I thought the whole system.
Yeah.
Yeah, the system's unplugged.
Yeah.
I think it just pressurized and. Yeah.
Well, that's what happens.
That's what happened. Even if you don't have the battery, even if you have the battery.
Yeah, apparently. Oh, that's a lot out of that one.
Yeah, I might wait a minute on the rest of this. I don't want to get sprayed with more fuel.
Just disconnected the fuel rail there.
Yeah, disconnected the fuel rail. As before, you are going to have to pull the fuel rail off at some point to be able to get to some of the more pain in the ass to get to bolts. Because there's a bunch of valve cover gaskets.
And what do you call those little small lines that come off the fuel rail? that you're
What, like-
removing, these small lines. Yeah, what do you call those?
Fuel lines.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's it, just fuel lines,
fuel lines to the injector.
injector.
Yeah, I don't know what you would actually call them. Just
All right.
fuel lines.
Cool. Curious.
Yeah, no worries. Ask away. It's your car. You should know as much. You should know more about it than me.
Yeah, that's gonna be fucking hard to do.
So, like I said, just kind of have them, your fuel lines to the fuel injectors laid out.
Should disconnect them there.
So, I'm going to get the rest of the fuel rail kind of out of the way. So, I'm just unplugging the fuel sensor. But I just realized I might have to undo the PVC system first.
Which we're removing anyway,
Which
right?
we're removing anyway.
So, no problem there.
So you're gonna want to get these clips off. These clips suck. So just be careful, be patient. You gotta do it half blind. Hope for the best and just kind of keep pressure on it. And if you're patient enough, sometimes just
Wiggle it. Oh, oh, oh. Oh.
when I mean these suck,
I mean, they suck.
really mean these suck. If I can get that off, then at least then when I pull the valve cover off, might be
What
able to do
exact?
it.
That's just part of the PCV connection there.
Yeah.
It's not like a specific name for that or anything.
Just like these are called flapper valves, I believe.
Okay. Look at that. You haven't even needed me to hold the flashlight for you, though, because when I'm pointing the camera there, it's lighting it up for you anyway.
Oh yeah.
Yay.
Ah, there we go, girl.
And the
So-
crowd goes wild.
Like I said, I might still need to pull that off just so I can get this off with ease. But at least now I can kind of pull on it a little
What
bit
was
better.
that? You're trying to remove the PCV, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're removing that.
Yeah, so that's gonna be one of the things we're gonna be replacing anyway.
Yeah.
So might as well pull it off while we're at it. So just get all the O2 wires out. Kind of pull those to the side. Slide these little clips off. Kind of just pull down on them, and they lift up. They have a little like J hook
Pull
on
it
them.
down and away.
Yeah, you
to
pull
release
it
it.
down, away. You don't need to fully take it off, just so it's covering the fuel rail itself. Yeah.
I had to break the nuts loose on my tires by hand and then use the impact wrench to just basically, as a drill, to just
Yeah.
thread them out. But it couldn't break. And on that note, why don't you guys let us know down below in the comments. Would you prefer us to cut out more of the struggle? You know, we try to leave a lot of the footage in, even if I do fast forward it. I don't want to just cut from, we need to take this bolts out. We need to do this, and then it's done. I want to really show you guys what it's like to get this done because, you know, these kind of projects take hours, multiple hours. You know, things fight you. It doesn't go as easily as you hoped it would, or, you know, maybe somebody said it would. So we like to show you what it takes to really get it done. But if that bores you guys and you'd rather we're just like, yo, take this bolt out and then, you know, show you the end result or things like that, then let us know down below in the comments. And if everybody says that they don't want to see the struggle, we'll start cutting more of it out. So let us know.
All right, so we're gonna have to fight getting this valve cover off a little bit. Maybe you've watched the episode before when we changed the valve cover gasket. It does take some effort, so I'm gonna put the camera down and you guys can watch us fight this thing get off. Or fight to get this thing off. However you want to word it.
This one. So right there. Oh, I got it with my finger. It's all good.
What essentially we're going to be doing next is each of these little holes is basically what we're going to be throwing a tap and plugging with the external PCB kit. Basically, from what it looks like, what these are doing is ventilating through the valve cover, and it looks like it's actually venting, and that will cause it to vent back here, or causing it to go through here and vent out here. So I'm gonna have to kind of figure out what we're doing with the whole system, but if we block this off, essentially I believe it isn't going to allow this to control any of the crankcase pressure, so it's going to just allow the actual external PCV valve to control it. I believe that's what kind of is going on. So I'm going to have to look in a little more on what we're doing with the external, but I know at least with the plugs, this is what we're having to do. So we're going to take probably a little break, get a little food, chill for a few, and then we'll be back to this. So you put it in at an angle from what I read. Just kind of thread it in. Sooner or later, this will start to catch.
Is that supposed to be pulling out metal?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
It's basically making a thread. So basically, it's supposed to pull out metal because it's right now a clear hole.
Yeah, right.
So you're basically creating a thread in there to put the plug. So that's perfectly normal. I'm gonna put a little rag underneath it just to catch any shavings. So now you have your thread in there.
Mm-hmm.
So putting a little red Loctite on them just to make sure they don't come out. I'm putting this underneath in case anything happens. I can catch it.
Good.
Seems right to me.
Yeah.
Because essentially it's going to be sitting in between that valve cover.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And there's a gap for that
There's a-
little
there's
not
a
flush
hole.
point. Yeah.
yeah, so essentially there's a little hole around it, so that's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. I'm just making, again, this isn't something I do at work beats, so
Yeah.
making sure.
It's all good, brother.
On to the next one.
Yeah. What are we gonna do? 6 of these?
Yep, 6 of these.
Son of a bitch. Okay.
The external.
2 drilled. There's 4 left to go. You on the 4th one there?
Yep, 2 more to go. I got the feel. Basically,
Yes.
it's not you don't have to be incredibly accurate with this. You know, if they're sticking up a little, it's all right. If they're down in a little bit, it's all right. It's essentially just a plug.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's essentially just plugging this hole. I might go back on 1 or 2 though and just see if I can get them a little deeper. Just so it's all kind of out of the way.
Plug my holes, Jeff.
I'm gonna put the shit out of these holes. Pop that out. It's 13. So the new PCV valve is gonna have your gasket on it, so you can just remove that gasket as well. The valve cover. It just looks like that's like a little block-off plate essentially, so that it's gonna vent the crankcase pressure to the basically into the actual intake ports. So that's why you put the block-off on there. Put this bad boy in. Oh, it's another piece you gotta pop out. That makes sense.
All right, so we got the external PCV valve piece put in, the old piece is out. Just pop the valve cover back on. Just working on tightening it back up right now. Okay, so as always, nothing goes as planned or as easy as it's supposed to. So Jeff's gone ahead and done a couple of things so far. Camera battery died, of course, but it's recharged as well. So in the back here, we've already got 2 hoses in place that are going to go to the RB external catch can. Let me show you where those are at. So right over here, got those in place already. Now, when it comes to the Mishimoto oil catch can, we do have it in place temporarily right here and mounted. Jeff had to go ahead and cut the bracket. We're going to give that a little bit of a paint job, but there were 2 holes there. It should be extending out this way and sitting more like right about here. But as you can see, there's this little nub in the way, and that won't allow the catch can to sit there. So cut the bracket, allowed us to get a little bit of a different angle. It's still nice and secure on there, as you can see. Now, beyond that, the RB external PCV externalization kit, whatever, God, that's all a pain in the ass to say. Anyway, that came with different fittings for the Mishimoto catch can. The catch can originally comes with plastic ones, and the externalization kit came with metal ones. They're too small. They don't thread in to the catch can. So it also looks like maybe this catch can has changed a little tiny bit. So not really necessarily blaming it on them. It's, you know, different companies buying different parts and something didn't work. So we've got some different fittings. Thankfully, boys here at our HB Racing, you know, have some sweet parts on hand sometimes. So we've got a couple different fittings that are going to work. And Jeff has already gone ahead and made us one sweet cable. Fittings on there, and he's working on the next one now. So let's get into it.
So the second part of the catch can installation for the PVC externalization, you got to basically run it into, I believe, what's your tank vent valve. But
What's what?
your fuel tank vent valve.
Okay.
But basically, it's a line on the side of your throttle body.
So you're taking the intake, like, arm off?
Yeah. Taking the pipe off.
A pipe, yeah, intake pipe, whatever you want.
The air filter, a little bit of the charge pipe. So there's one bolt on Beats' car for this charge pipe that's on the throttle body. Basically, you just pop that bolt off.
I don't know if you guys can see that bolt back there. I can with my eyeballs, but I don't know what the camera can see.
Of course. They're terrible.
In your way, blocking you getting it out.
Yeah. but I might be able to get that out with
All right, so we just got the little, what would you call it, Jeff? Diverter?
Yeah, diverter. Yeah.
Anyway, there's a little like diverter, whatever, for the externalization kit. We just got that mounted. I'm going to give you guys a little shot of that right now.
So you can see it's right there, connected onto the side of the throttle bottle PCV system.
Just gotta throw one clip on there. There we go. Cool.
You can see that clip on there right there, guys.
Yeah, so that was cool. Just went and banged it out real quick.
Yep.
I got a lot of good pictures. And then all right, so I had to switch to the Hero 4 on the stick now instead of the mount, and we're working off of that microphone. I really hope it doesn't sound like crap. I have a lot of problems with like digital feedback with it. I've had to scrap some videos because of it, scrap a lot of audio. So, you know, it's just like the connection has to be just right, but you don't know when just right is. So I hope it doesn't sound like for you guys. This is the camera I got to work with for now. Ran out of memory card on the other one. So fingers crossed. Just putting the charge pipe back on after.
Yeah, putting the charge pipe back on. I'm gonna start kind of bolting everything back up. Put the new catch cans in. Tighten up a few things and should be good to go.
Putting in there.
I'm putting in the grounds for the ignition coils. So basically, each of the coils has a ground connector or ground. That's also the kind of a pain in the ass bolt to get to on these. The one I needed thought I needed special tools for, but just needed Beats' pink socket.
Plus 2 points for the pink socket.
Yeah. I'm not using power tools anymore because my gun ran out of juice, so that's why. If you're sitting there wondering why is Jeff not using power tools, that's why.
Oh, here we go. Actually mounting the Burger oil catch can on the strut bar.
Oh.
Yeah, it's because I got
Oh, yeah, the hose is back there.
Yeah, before there was
Yeah.
no hose, now there's a hose.
Yeah, if you have to cut a little bit of the cover in the back, I'm not gonna be crying about that. Like, see that back piece there?
Yeah, that section.
If I don't.
Yeah,
if we have to cut that off, like that's
It'd
fine.
make life 100 times easier.
So it's all good. It's not where it should be pretty unnoticeable if we do that.
Like it's an OEM.
I wish I had your face. I should have lifted the camera up when you said that.
Mint guy.
See?
Plenty of room. Going nice and beautiful. Lost a piece of foam in the works, but beautiful.
Good. Okay, so we got both the catch cans installed and the PCB externalization kit. Everything is hooked up, and bonus, we installed my clutch stop. So that only took a couple minutes, and we're not putting the net in. But anyway, bonus for me. So everything is put back together. Hood is closed. Yay, time to go for a test drive. Let's do it. All right, so we just got back from a test drive. Everything is working good, so no problems. Looks like we got it accomplished. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please make sure to hit the thumbs up and the subscribe. We'll see you next time on the next episode of Bimmer TV.